I found out my girlfriend had an OnlyFans after we've been together for 5 years. 5 years. 5 solid years of love, trust, and planning a future together. We weren't just a couple, we were partners. At least, that's what I thought. We had the kind of relationship that people look up to, friends, family, everyone thought we were perfect for each other. I thought I knew everything about her. Every secret, every fear, every dream. We even talked about marriage, kids, growing old together. She was my world. I was sure she was the one. I had even started looking at rings. But as it turns out, I was living in a fantasy. Everything I believed, everything we built, it wasn't real. It all started with a single message. Just one random message on Instagram. It was a normal Thursday. I was home, scrolling through my phone, just killing time while she was out with her friends. We trusted each other. We always gave each other space. It was nothing unusual. But then my phone buzzes. I didn't think much of it at first, probably just another meme or spam, but the preview on my screen made my stomach drop. You need to know what your girlfriend's been doing behind your back. My heart raced. What does that even mean? Who was this guy messaging me? And why? I hesitated for a moment, but I couldn't ignore it. I opened the message, and all it had was a link. No explanation. Just a link. My hands were shaking as I clicked it. I don't know why, I guess deep down, I had a feeling something was wrong. And when the page loaded, my whole world came crashing down. It was an OnlyFans account. Her OnlyFans account. There was her name, her face, her body. Pictures I recognized. Some of them were the ones I had taken myself. At first, I didn't believe it. I kept telling myself there had to be some mistake. Maybe someone was using her photos without her permission. Maybe this was some kind of scam. But as I kept scrolling, it became clear. This was real. She had been doing this behind my back. My girlfriend of 5 years had a secret OnlyFans account, and I knew nothing about it. I was in shock. I didn't know what to think or feel. My mind was racing, but everything was blurry. How long had she been doing this? Why didn't she tell me? How could she keep something this big from me? The betrayal hit me like a ton of bricks. It wasn't just that she had an OnlyFans. It was that she lied to me, hid this entire part of her life from me for who knows how long. What else didn't I know? I sat there for what felt like hours, staring at my phone, scrolling through her posts. Reading the comments from these guys who had no idea she had a boyfriend. Watching how she interacted with them. Some of the messages, they felt intimate, personal, like she was connecting with them on a deeper level than just business. Was I not enough for her? That thought kept creeping into my head, and it hurt more than anything else. We had been through so much together. We shared everything, or at least, I thought we did. But now, all I could feel was that everything we had was a lie. When she finally came home, everything felt off. I was barely holding it together. She was talking about her day, laughing about some story her friend told her, but I wasn't even listening. I was too busy trying to make sense of what I had just discovered. I couldn't pretend. I couldn't keep this bottled up. I had to confront her. But I didn't want to explode right away. I wanted to see if she'd be honest if I gave her the chance. So, I casually asked her, "Hey, have you heard of OnlyFans?" I swear, the second those words came out of my mouth, her whole body tensed up. It was like her entire demeanor shifted. She forced a laugh, trying to brush it off. Yeah, isn't that the site where girls sell pictures or whatever? But I could see through her act. I could see the panic in her eyes. I wasn't buying it. I pressed her. "Do you have an OnlyFans account?" That's when her face went pale. She froze, and I could almost hear her heart pounding. The room got quiet, too quiet. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, she muttered, "Why are you asking me that?" I didn't even need her to answer at that point. I already knew. But I pulled out my phone and showed her the profile. Her profile. I watched her eyes widen in shock, then immediately fill with anger. But it wasn't the kind of guilt-ridden anger you'd expect. It was a defensive, fiery rage. She snapped. "You went through my stuff, didn't you?" she shouted, her voice shaking. "How dare you invade my privacy like that? I knew you were controlling, but this is insane." I stood there, completely stunned. She was accusing me of invading her privacy? After she'd been lying to me for a whole year? I told her I didn't go through her stuff, that someone sent me the link. But she wasn't hearing any of it. She kept shouting, pacing around the room like she was trying to deflect the conversation away from her. "I did this for us," she screamed, her voice breaking. "You don't understand. I was trying to help. We needed the money, and you're always stressed about bills. I didn't want to burden you with it." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "For us?" I shot back. "You've been lying to me for an entire year. If you needed money, why didn't you talk to me? Why go behind my back like this?" She looked frustrated, but it wasn't adding up. We weren't exactly rolling in money, but we weren't desperate either. I felt something was off. I asked, "If you've been doing this for us, then where's the money?" And that's when I realized. I had never once seen any extra income in our shared bank account. She kept saying she was doing this for us, to help out, yet I'd been the one paying for almost everything, bills, rent, even stuff for her. So, I did something I hadn't done before. I looked through her bank account. What I found. I couldn't even believe it. She wasn't just making a little extra cash on the side. She had earned over $500,000. $500,000. Just sitting there. And she hadn't said a word. Not a single thing. I was beyond furious. I confronted her again, holding up her bank statements. "You've made over $500,000 with this, and you let me keep paying for everything? You've been sitting on this money while I've been stressing over bills?" Her face turned red, a mixture of anger and shame. "It's my money. I worked for it. You don't get to just swoop in and claim it because we're dating." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "We're supposed to be a team. You've been lying to me for a year, hiding this, and now you're telling me you've been hoarding money while I've been breaking my back to support us." She lost it. "You don't own me. I don't owe you anything. Just because we're together doesn't mean I have to share everything with you." Her words cut deep. This wasn't the woman I knew. She was keeping secrets, hiding money, lying to my face. And for what? So she could live a double life while I played the fool? We were screaming at each other now. The rage, the hurt, the betrayal, it all came pouring out. I couldn't believe I had been so blind for so long. How had she changed so much without me even noticing? Finally, after what felt like hours of screaming, she grabbed her keys and stormed out of the apartment, slamming the door so hard I thought it would break off the hinges. I was left standing there, alone, in the wreckage of what used to be our relationship. My mind was racing. What the hell had just happened? This wasn't the woman I fell in love with. This wasn't the person I thought I was going to marry. How did we get here? How did 5 years of love turn into this? I sat down on the couch, trying to process everything. Part of me wanted to run after her, to fix things, to make everything go back to the way it was. But another part of me knew that wasn't possible. Things would never be the same. I couldn't unsee what I had seen. I couldn't forget the lies, the betrayal, the screaming. I don't know what's going to happen next. I still love her, but how do you rebuild trust after something like this? How do you move forward when the person you love has been living a double life? As I sit here telling you this, I'm still trying to figure it out. Maybe this is the end for us. Maybe it's not. But one thing's for sure, this changes everything. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss more crazy, real Reddit stories. Hit the bell to get notified when new stories drop. See you next time on Reddit Story Vault.